Can you make me co-host?
Yes, I will. There you go. So what I will do, John, I will engage people. Hi, Johnny. How are you? Hi, Madeline. How you doing today, Johnny?
Just fine, and you?
Good. Where are you from? I bet you're not Johnny.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are? Well, good for you. Okay.
Detroit.
My best friend when I was little was Johnny, but it was a guy.
Well, I'm named after my grandfather. His name was Johnny.
Very good. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Karen. Hi. Oh, S. Carter. I remember your name now. I forgot what it is.
Hi, Russ.
Hey, Claudia. I accidentally muted you. Sorry. You can unmute yourself.
All right, good.
Hi, Karen. How's Houston?
We are very wet, very wet. Too much. I've had 11 inches of rain in the last week and a half.
Ooh, that's a lot of rain. Are you having flooding?
Yes, not in my subdivision, but the rivers are rising. Kind of not so good right now.
That doesn't sound so good. Well, we've had a little bit more rain here, which is nice, and I've been glad for it. I'm just letting people in. It was dry here for several weeks, and we had just put in the garden, so we're quite relieved to get about an inch or so of rain over about a week, which was nice. It's the way you want to get it.
Right.
Good morning, Madeline. How are you? And hi, Nikki.
Morning, Russ.
And hi, IPA. You're welcome to rename yourself if you want. And we've got Donna. Hi, Donna. Hi, Carolyn. And S. Carter. Is it Sue? I've forgotten. And welcome, Joyce. Good to have you all here. Do you hear any background noise coming from where I am?
Something's pounding.
Oh, too bad. I was hoping that would be not. They're putting on a roof right above me.
Oh, well, that's quiet compared to what they do here.
Well, they haven't gotten the noisy part yet.
Oh, the staple gun is always fun.
Yes, the staple gun is coming yet. What they're doing right now with the banging, I think they're.
Are they pulling off your old?
That's off. The old roof's gone.
Okay.
They started at 7 this morning. I went out to run errands and to get the car out of the garage. Hey, Mayor, welcome.
Hi, good morning.
This class is thanks to Mayor, so we all need to give him an applause for giving me the idea for this class.
Thank you, Mayor.
Glad you're here. I was just explaining the noise above me. So I moved into this house 10 years ago, and the house roof was 22, 23 years old, and it would look like it might last till 30, but it might only need 25. Well, it's lasted 10. And it finally came off this morning. And while I was gone running an errand and coming back, which took me about 35 or 40 minutes, when I came back at the house, there was a crew of 10 on my roof, and they'd already stripped about half the roof away. And they've now got it all off, and they are putting down the they're putting down the underlayment. And so what you occasionally hear banging is they're putting the underlayment on as they kind of go along and do a bam as they hit the.
It's like a tarp, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have two layers. One is like a tar paper and the other one is something else. And they're both going on the roof, and then they'll put the shingles on. And there was the noise a minute ago of the power lift, which is like a ladder lift, sorry. And they were
Yeah.
taking the shingles up to the roof. And so the next step is sometime the next couple hours, we're going to hear the stable gun go bang, 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 bang. So anyway,
Are you putting on aggregate?
it's asphalt roof.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
What I wish it were a slate roof or a tile roof because it would last forever, but I'm afraid the roof that they're putting on right now is going to outlast me anyway. So I'm not.
Well, the tile lasts, but if the stuff underneath doesn't, you're still going to get some leaks, and they have to pull the tile off to get to the leak.
Well, I want to welcome everyone to the class. I know you didn't come to hear about roofing. You came to learn. So
I have a note, Russ, about consumer cellular.
Yes.
It said, I was on this morning and it said, no problem anywhere in the US, but I'm going to have to call them. They said, you can access your talk and your text, which are always free with consumer. And the data plan you choose. And if you run over, they don't penalize you. They just up you to the next level for as long as you need it. And then they bump you back. Okay. Or you can bump back. So
are you coming to the 3:30 class today, Carolyn? On how to use online and mobile apps to plan a trip?
No, because I already went to that one.
Remind me why we were talking about consumer cellular. I remember it.
Because you had the other ones with the SIM card and it didn't answer about the SIM card. So I'm going to have to find out about that one.
Well, welcome everyone. It's good to see you all. I think they're all familiar faces and names here. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you. We'll get right down to starting this class. And this is a class called How to Share Your Photo Trips, travel photos using Google Slides. And I'm using Google Slides to show you this. So as I manipulate this, you'll all be interested. Glad to have you all with us on this. I almost said Monday morning. It's Tuesday. That always happens after a holiday. I think you all know me. I'm your guide, Russ Eanes from Harrisonburg, Virginia, writer, walker, and a cyclist. And I used to be a book publisher. I had a fun experience yesterday. Some of the other learners from some of our travel classes, Frank and Joanne Kohler from Pennsylvania, were driving through the Shenandoah Valley and stopped and had coffee with them. So that was a lot of fun. I always enjoy seeing people in real life after I've gotten to meet them online. And Frank and Joanne did the class on Cuba, if any of you were there.
Yeah, we are real people, not just little figureheads.
That's right. That's right.
Do I hear pounding in the background?
Yes, you do. I was just explaining earlier that, wouldn't you know it, today they're putting a roof on my house. So I pardon you all for the noise, but you know, I'm a real guy somewhere that has a roof put on his house, and we all have that experience. It's the roof lasted about 33 years, which is 3 years beyond its projected life. So I'm happy about that. You can request a recording of this class after the class if you email help@getsetup.io. And if anyone's joining by live streaming, we are live streaming today. The best way to participate is to join us and register for class. And lastly, we're not paid to promote any specific products. So even though I'm showing you Google Slides today, Google isn't paying us anything. Good to see you all. I know that several of you are really interested in this. And I mentioned earlier that Mayor is the one who suggested the idea for the class. So I find this class a lot of fun. Melinda is going to do a class with me tonight about home exchange. It's good to see Melinda on. And we were working on a slide deck for that class. And so we're going to finish that off this afternoon. Our agenda today is pretty simple. I'm going to show you how to access Google Slides, how to create a new slide from a blank slide or template, and how to import photos into Google Slides. And then also, if you need to, how to import slides into Google Slides, PowerPoint slides into Google Slides if you need to, but we probably won't get there today. The important thing really is about this Google Photos, which we'll get to in a minute. But the very first thing, this is where it all starts. You got to have a Google account. And just so we all understand, having a Gmail account means you have a Google account. A lot of people don't know that. You can actually have a Google, if you have Google Chrome, Chrome is a Google app. They have like, I don't know, 34 apps or something like that. Gmail is free. So you can get a Google account for free and you get all the apps that come with it. And Slides is one of them. Slides is their slimmed down version of PowerPoint. Honestly, it's about as good as PowerPoint for most of the stuff you ever need to do. Just like they have Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides is their version. And it's in the cloud. So it's not actually on your computer. You're working on the internet in the cloud, which means that everything you do is saved there. Your computer will crash and it'll all be there. It's actually not working on your computer. It's a web-based application. So it is free again. But number one, you got to have a Google account. So if you don't have a Gmail account, you need to get one. To sign up is free. And then you have a Gmail and you have a Google account. Technically, you can have a Google account without a Gmail account because I have a separate email system for my business that I help people with publishing, and it's hosted by Google. So I have a Google account there, but that only confuses things if I tell you that. If you have Gmail, you have a Google account. If you don't have one to use Slides, you got to start by getting one. Now, these 4 steps right here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you the notes that explain this in your notes at the end, in an email that you get. So if you don't get this right now, don't worry. You'll get the reference to this in your class notes. There's 4 steps to creating a new slideshow. One is, I always say, upload your photos into Google Photos and create an album. All right. Then you open a new presentation, name it, and then you insert your photos, text boxes, whatever. And you'll see why I always start with Google Photos. You don't have to, but you'll see why I like to start with it that way. So I'm going to escape from here, and I am going to open another Google presentation in a second. There's 2 ways you can do it. If you have a Google presentation open, as I do here, okay, you can see that this is, I'm working in Google Chrome, and these are the tabs I have open across the top here. You can go to File, New, Presentation. You can do it that way. All right. But I'm going to show you a slightly different step, which is if you have your Gmail open. So I'm going to open my Gmail here. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Well, oops, we were unable to complete your request. That's not very nice. Let's try it again. All right, I'm going to switch Google accounts. I'm going to go to this one right here and get rid of that guy. All right, so this is a Gmail account, a Google account. You can call it whatever you want. This is one that has one of my email addresses for Get Set Up. And I think if you have a Gmail account, you know this interface. There's this little thing up here they call the waffle in the upper right-hand corner. It's got 9 dots. All right, I'm going to see that. Click on it again. That opens all your Google apps. All right, so you can scroll down through here. There's 34 of those Google apps. And if you come to my online class this afternoon, I'll show you the Google Travel app, which I've been playing around with and found very helpful. Okay, but we're going to look at photos and slides. So Slides is one of the apps. You can start right here. So I'll go ahead and just hit Slides. All right. But I'm also going to go back here and I'm going to open Google Photos. Okay. Google Photos is basically a very simple photo editing, photo storage app that works with all the other Google apps, but you can print pictures from it. You can make photo books from it. There's also all sorts of things you can do. I use it largely for photo storage. And when you have a Google account, you get 15 gigabytes of space. So if you look down here at the bottom, my screen doesn't tell you. It's usually on one of the screens, it'll tell you how much space you've used, how much space you have available in your account. It takes a lot to use up 15 gigabytes of space. So you can put a lot of photos in there. If you imagine that an average photo is say, let's just say it's 5 gigabytes. That's a big photo if it's 5 gigabytes, actually. Let's say 3 gigabytes. That's a handy size photo. If it gets to 5, it gets too big. You could do 1,000, and that would be 3 gigabytes. So you could do 5,000 photos at 3 gigabytes each, and that would use up your 15 gigabytes. Somebody check my
Russ,
math. I think that's right.
aren't you meaning megabytes? You're not meaning that a photo's 3 gigabytes.
You are right. Thank you for the correction. That would be an enormous photo.
I'm going to say 5 photos and you're done.
That would be so big you couldn't manipulate it. Thank you, Melinda, for the correction. 3 megabytes is a good size photo. You can take them bigger. You can make TIFFs and do all sorts of things that are huge, but they become very difficult to move around or do anything with when they get too big. And 3 is really, you can print a nice 8x10 photo out of a 3 megabyte file. So I like Google Photos, and under Google Photos, what is really cool and what I like about it is Google Photos allows you to do albums, and I like the albums that they allow you to do. So on that, so here's the Google Photos app I'm looking at here, and you get photos, explore, sharing. So you can share albums with other people, just like you can share anything that you use, like a Google Doc, Google Slides. Those things are all shareable. And then you can go down here, you can create albums. So I use lots of albums. This is where actually I do a lot of my travel stuff. My classes are all, and I download photos and I create albums with them. You can create an album just by going up here in the right-hand corner. You click Create Album, okay? And it'll bring up a window. You can give the name of it. You can give it, I'm gonna call this one Class Album, okay? And then you select the photos from it, and you can either use photos that it already has stored somewhere in Google Photos. You can reorganize them into an album, or you can upload them from your computer. So let's get some from my computer. So you select from computer, okay? And then you go over here and you look at all the I'm using a Mac, by the way. You all see my little window here that's got the Mac. Okay, so let's say I want to go to my Google Photos, my Mac, my Photos app, my Macintosh, and it'll bring up lots of photos that are options for me. And these are shared photos. Okay, and it's got my favorites. So I'll just pick one of these right here that's a favorite. And let's take this one right here from a recent trip. I use a better one. I get my son and daughter. I'll open and I click. You can click by holding down the Command Shift in Mac, and I think it's the Control Shift in Windows. You can select multiple. So let's say I'm going to select a bunch of these right here, and I'm going to, I think that's enough selected. We'll do one more. Why not? Okay, and I click Open, which is that basically selects them. And now you see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, it says uploading to album. Everybody see that? So it's got 4 of the 6 uploading. Some of them must be pretty big. I think that those are pretty big photos. And it's just slowly loading them up, and it'll put them there in a minute. Carolyn, do you have a question while we're waiting for my photos to upload?
Yes, I do. How do you take 35 millimeter slides and get them to the computer to be able to do this? Or is it a whole different ballgame?
Well, actually, I'm doing a class that will show that. Isn't that always my answer? Come to another class. Somebody once got mad at me. They said, every time he asks us a question, he says, he's got another class going on. No,
That's
really,
okay.
I'm doing a class for Father's Day because I scanned my father's slides. I'm doing
Okay.
a class on how I scanned his slides for a trip to Rome. And then when I went to Rome, I found the places where he'd taken all the pictures.
Yeah.
You
Because
need an
that-
app. You need a device. Well, actually, there's two ways you can do it. You can actually use your phone with a free app that will scan slides. Isn't that incredible? You hold the slide up in front of a light background, and a computer background will work just fine. You need to have it lit from behind, and your phone will scan it. I have that app, and I haven't tried it yet because I have something called a view scan. I actually have a slide scanner. It's a machine. You feed the slide in, and it scans it on a very high resolution.
Well, I would be happy to buy one of those things because I can't, they're all in those Kodak carousel things and I can't find a machine. I used the one at school, but now I can't find a carousel.
Yes, I actually still have one of those Kodak carousels.
Ugh.
So if you want to scan them, you know what?
I can just come to the class.
Come to
I
that
don't
class
wanna
and I'll
interrupt.
explain it, but I'm also going to suggest to Scott a class on how to do that because the machine isn't all that expensive and you have to buy software for it. But you can also take them somewhere and have them done. There's companies that will scan them for you. And if you don't want to hassle with buying a machine, you can, if you only have a fixed number of slides, I have hundreds and hundreds of slides.
Well, yeah,
I have hundreds of my own, plus I have about 500 of my father's.
and I
Oh.
set them to music because I play piano. And so I had a group from church do that for that presentation, but I've done others too. So, okay, well, I'll just come to that class. And then on my Mac, you said to do this, Control Shift.
Command. If you hold on the command button when you're selecting, you can select multiple photos. So I selected 6, and now see how they're all in this album called Class Album.
Okay, so that
So they're all there, and I want to just show you. I gotta show you all something. Isn't this excellent color on this photo? I
Wow,
took that
it
with
is.
my iPhone. My iPhone is killing it. I mean, I still have my Sony RMX 100, which is really a top of the line travel camera. I'm going to continue to use it, but I'll tell you, this is hard to beat. This was an iPhone.
Russ,
Their cameras are so good. Yes.
I found it because I used to always travel with like a Nikon travel phone, little tiny one, that's about the same. And because of storage, because I didn't want to use up my iPhone storage taking all these photos. Because with a camera, you got an SD card that you can keep loading, But I found when I got home, the pictures I took with my iPhone were better than with my Nikon camera. So now I'll take photos with the Nikon just for storage reasons, but then I'll turn around and might take a photo of the same thing with my iPhone because I know it's going to, oddly enough, I don't know what they're doing with the lenses and things, but they're actually better than cameras.
Melinda, what phone do you use? What number iPhone?
I just have the latest SE, which
That's what this is. This is the 2020 SE, which
Right.
is only costs about $300.
Right.
It's like a
But I
mind-blowing
ended up-
iPhone.
I got that one because it was like that's when they introduced it's like okay the economy iPhone, and I like it match size and button and everything I was used to on my.
This is identical to the iPhone, whatever, 12, who
Right.
knows, whatever.
Okay,
Except
I
that
have an 11.
the other one has a better camera, but this camera is so good.
Oh, I know it's crazy.
Let me see. Mayor, did you have a question?
Yes, and I have to apologize because it's a very basic question. So I have an iPhone. It's an old iPhone, and it has photos. How do I download photos from my phone to my computer or upload to the Google Cloud?
So what computer do you have? A Macintosh or a PC?
A PC.
You should be able to get the Macintosh Photos app for a PC. They will have them. I know that because I have family
A
members.
Macintosh?
Yeah, well, an Apple computer. Photos is their app. Now,
iPhone.
iPhoto. Well, iPhotos is gone. It's now just called Photos.
Oh,
And yeah, good luck with iPhotos. If you have the latest version of Mac, it's gone. And that, we won't go into there. I've had
I'm sorry, I need
years
to
of
get in-
agony over the fact that they eliminated iPhone. So Mayor, you should be able to get a Photos app or something like that for your computer that will pull them off your iPhone.
That will pull them off the iPhone, and then I can upload it from my computer to Google Drive.
Yes.
Can he
Okay.
also plug his phone into his laptop and download it that
He
way?
can. That gets a little more complicated. The reason I would suggest you pull them on your computer, that's a way to back it up. If you want to save, it's putting your photos on your computer will back up your photos in case something happens to your phone. Unless, I mean, if you're keeping them all in the cloud, that's different. They're backed up automatically. I don't use the cloud because I don't use the Apple cloud.
Okay.
So keep on asking questions, everybody. Now, here's why I use Google Photos. Is when I go, you can add photos from your computer directly into Slides, but if they're in Google Photos already, it's a snap. That's why I do that. And it's also easier to select them. So I find it's easier to go and select all the photos I want to create my show out of, or whatever, and put them into Google into an album. And those of you that are in my travel classes, a lot of my travel classes, they start out as albums here. So a lot of these, like slow travel, that's a class I teach. I went out and I snatched all the photos that I might want to use from that class. There's more than I use in the class, and I put them into that album. So then when I go to create my show, I just go right to that album for the photos, and then Google doesn't have to go find them, upload them. It's just a simpler, snappier way to get it done. And it doesn't take any more time because and here's the other, that way, if you say you want to use them for multiple shows, and I do that. Some of you come to my classes are like, hey, Russ, show that picture in another class I took. Well, I did. And that's because they're in my Google Photos. They're in one of the albums. So let's now switch over to Google Slides. Okay. And I showed you how to open that from your Gmail. You go to that waffle, remember that? And you look at all the apps, and there's Google Photos, which we have open in a tab up here. And then Google Slides is the one down here, and I opened that already. And the Google Slides interface, if you've used any of the Google apps, is very simple. There's template options at the top. So like if you want to do a one Mayor called a photo album, you could click on this one right here, this template, and it'll give you pre-selected slides with images on them. And you go out and you just simply replace images. So it kind of sets them in an order, makes a nice kind of photo album. I think that's nicer if you're actually making like a book, but when you're doing a slide presentation and sharing it with people, you're really just going to do one per page generally. Sometimes I do two per page if they're portrait orientation, but generally I just do one per page. So I find it easier just to go and click here on a blank. So I just click, and if you use any Google applications like Google Sheets or Google Docs, they all have this, I call it the Rainbow Plus. It's got all the colors right there. That's kind of Google's icon, is the rainbow colors. So you click on that, you get a blank one. Okay. And Google Slides also always gives you, come back here. Nope, I was there. Thank you. It always has a default slide that it starts with, which is the number one slide is a title, and then there's a subtitle, and then it gives you all these other, and then if you add a slide, it'll give you other options. But let me do two things first. Let me just show you, name it. So you go up here, the upper left-hand corner, and it says Untitled Presentation. Google always defaults to whatever you're doing. It'll call Untitled Sheet, Untitled Doc, Untitled Presentation. So you can name it. So we're going to just call this class demo. All right. So you just click into that little square, and you can, and you click away, and it's named. You can click back in there and change it. You can call class project. So that's how you do it. Now, I don't recommend that you use a white background on slides. So over here on the right-hand side, these are some other slide options. Okay, and these are all backgrounds you can use. They'll create a template for all of your images. I go with black. Why black? Because black is easier to set a photo against and see. It comes from the olden days when I would do PowerPoint presentations and I'd have it on a projector and they'd put it up on a wall and people would see it. And you always knew that if there was any light in the room, you need to have strong light and contrast from your show. And so you always want to start with a black background. That'll set off your image. So you just do here. Now, if you're, we'll go ahead and give it a title. We're going to call it Class Present.
Why would you need a background if the slide is just going to show up? Is that going to be kind of like a little border around the slide?
It's going to be exactly. It's going to be like a border, and you may not be able to get the photo to fit it very well. So you're going to have a bit of a background.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to go to for everyone. Okay. Anyway, just to do that. Okay. So I've got a slide. Yay. But that isn't what we want. We want pictures. So let's go in here and we're just going to do slide, new slide. Okay. So now again, this is part of the default of the way Google Slides works. If I do slide, I can keep on adding slides. Each one of the new slides has the next format, which is there's a little title and a little text underneath it. And they'll keep on doing that from then on. The first one always starts out with a big title and a subtitle. And the next one is always a little title and text. I don't like those things because I'm going to put photos in here. So I go up here and I highlight this whole box. All right. So the box is highlighted with a blue line around. I hit delete. See this one here? I did that to the wrong one. Let's go back up to the second slide.
You're going to have to do that every slide?
Well, I'll show you a trick. I go up here, I'm going to do 2, delete, and I'll do delete the box. Okay, so I have just blank black slides. Now watch this. I'm going to highlight 2 of them, and I go up to slide, duplicate slides. Look at that, I got 4 blank ones. Oh, I want to do more than 4. I highlight all 4. See how I feel over here on the left? Everyone see it kind of like that yellow shading in the back? I've highlighted 4 of them. Slide, duplicate slides. I now got 8. And I can keep on adding however many I want. I want 8 more, highlight all 8, and I'll have 16. I can keep doubling it, or if I just want 10, I can just highlight the last 2. So I always recommend then you make your blank slides next that you're going to start with. So you can get that all out of the way. And this is the way I actually make class presentations, pretty similar. This Get Setup has certain formatting things we do that are a little different than this, but this is basically how I do presentations. So I got 8 black slides. All right. Now let's stop here. Are there any questions about what I've done? Because I work pretty fast.
Would you explain again how you did the duplication for me?
Sure.
I have a little trouble seeing on this little screen I have.
That's okay. And I'm glad you asked. So up here you have your menu. All right. And you can do file, which will allow you to name it, open new ones, move them around. You got editing, view. This is the slide menu. And under the slide menu, it says new slide or duplicate slide. Okay. And if it's a new slide, it'll always default to doing that one that had the title and the list. That's just the way it works. But I went to duplicate slide. And so down here, you can see I've just got 1 slide duplicated or 1 slide highlighted. When I hit duplicate slide, okay, now I should have a total of 10 slides because I just duplicated 1. If you want to increase the number of blank slides fast, highlight a whole bunch of them. So it's under slide, and you're going to do a lot of stuff here under slide. You can delete a slide. Hey, I don't want that one there. Get rid of it. If I do new slide, it'll bring the slide up with a text box and the title box in it. You can move a slide, but you can also move a slide much easier by just grabbing it here and pulling it up and down. You can't tell because my slides are they're all same black. Did that help?
Yes, I was had muted myself.
That's okay. Slide, duplicate slide. Now I'm going to show you one other thing over here that's really handy. Now, I'm going to put a photo in. This is what we're all waiting to come to, right? So I've highlighted slide number 2 over here on the left. That shows you where I am. Okay. And I'm going to insert a photo. So there's two ways I can do it. I can go to the insert menu and pull down and it says image. All right. That's one way I can do it. Very fast, very simple. Another way I can do it is I can go to this little icon right here. It looks like a window with a mountain in it. That is the exact same thing. When I click on it, I have the options. I can upload a photo from my computer. So Mayor, if you had some on your computer, you could go out. This would then take you through that same process when I uploaded photos from Google onto my Google Photos. I could go out and grab them there. Again, one reason is that I often find them real hard to see then. I can search the web for an image. I'll show you how to do that in a minute too. I can store them in my Google Drive, which is just my sort of big storage. But why do that when they're right there in my photos? So this makes it easy. If they're put in my photos, I go click on photos. And then over here, photos gives me an option to go to albums. So you see over here on the right now it's finding the photo that I want to insert. So let's go albums. And I had a class, where'd it go? Class album right there. So I click on that and it'll open that. Now these are all the options inside class photo. All right. So in this slide, I'm going to select the one in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, if you look down the bottom right, you'll see it'll say one selected. So there's a little blue check mark in a circle. It's selected that one. And then I just click insert and it very quickly puts it in there. If you have to go out and find it in your computer, you kind of have to navigate out to your computer, find each one, which can take some time, and then it's going to upload it. But if it's in Google Photos, it's a snap. You go in, you look on the photos, you find your album. And the next photo, by the way, let's do another one. If I click here, click. Okay, so I'm on slide number 3. And slide number 3, I click on this little window icon, photos, pulls this one down. Okay, let's pull up this photo. See, there's a little blue check mark here. That means it's got that one. And I go down here to the bottom right and I click insert. Now I put the second photo in. Oh, don't do that to me. Okay. Now, let me show you something about this. Carolyn, this is why I did the black background. See how the photo doesn't fit? The photo is smaller than the image of the slide. And so
but
this
how did
gives,
you center it? Oh,
well,
you just pull
I just grabbed
okay.
it and pulled it over. Another way you can do it is you can go in here and you can, now that the whole photo is highlighted.
You can expand the photo.
Let's see. It doesn't give me a chance to center it like it does text. So I just grabbed it and pulled it over and kind of put it in the middle. Oops.
Oh, but you can't expand the photo to fit. You can center it.
You can, but look what's going to happen when I try to do that.
It's going to go over the border.
If I stretched it this way and stretch it this way, it now fits, and we're really just started. Yeah, you could do that for fun.
Russ?
Yes.
When I adjust the stretching, sometimes it's out of the, the picture looks funny. How can I know which is the proper way to enlarge the picture?
Okay, so the way to enlarge a picture always, and I'm going to make this one smaller. You always grab in a corner, grab the corner, and you move it diagonally toward the other corner. Now I've made it smaller. Let's say that I wanted to put a text box over here on the side to describe what this photo was.
Yeah.
So I would go up here and I would click on T for text box, and I'd put a little text box here, and then it would just say Russ. Oh, it's black. I make my text white. Russ, not Russ, with daughter. Okay, so there I am with my daughter. Actually, my grandson's in the background. You can hardly tell my grandson's in the background. He's poking his head out from here. So that's how you do that to make it bigger, smaller, Emily. Always grab the corner. So I'm clicked outside the photo, click into the photo so that you see the box around it, and always drag diagonally. I learned that all the way back in high school. Yes.
I know how to do the shrink to smaller, but when I enlarge it, sometimes it's out of the focus, like
Yeah.
I stretch it
So
too long,
does it look like
too
this?
wide. Uh-huh.
Look what it's doing. It's try
Yeah,
that again.
if you stretch too,
I can
it
stretch
kinda-
it so that it goes outside of the border of the slide like that.
sometimes the picture looks funny if I stretch it too far away.
Yeah, you always have to stretch diagonally. Slides won't let Google Slides won't let you stretch out beyond the border of the slide. PowerPoint will let you do that. I have a question, and it just says IPA. Go ahead with your question.
I don't know if that's me or not, but I do have a question.
Well, what is
Is
your
it-
name?
June.
June. I'll rename you June. Go ahead, June.
Okay. Can you do multiple at a time? Like you had 9 slides. Can you highlight all 9 and then just send them over into those blank slides?
No, you have to do them one slide at a time. What'll happen is if you select multiple photos, it'll stack them all up one on top of the other.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And yeah, it would be nice. I wouldn't be surprised if PowerPoint would let you do that. And I'm not saying it won't do that. I'll look that one up. I don't know how to do that because I always tend to work one slide at a time because I want to format it and get it just right.
Okay.
Something you can do, I will just mention this. If you really want to fill the slide out, so this is a certain dimension of slide, and of a rectangle, and the photo is a different rectangle. You can go in and edit your photos ahead of time by making them narrower, and then put them in and try to get them to fill. That's one way you can do it. When I go to presentation mode, so up here you see right in the upper right hand corner, I got present. Now I'm in presentation mode. That's actually a pretty big photo for someone to see. And if they were looking at a TV screen, it would be really huge. By hitting escape, I come out of presentation mode.
So it looks like these are maybe 4x6 photos, but going on a screen that is, if you know, the iPhoto, when you use your phone, is a different dimension of a screen.
Yeah. I'd have to go and stop and think what this is a standard photo dimension, and
For an iPhoto.
for any photo.
Photos
have certain dimensions. You can change that. Actually, a 4x6 and an 8x10 photo, if you were to lay them, if you get them printed, maybe somewhere you'll notice that you can't. That one has to be cropped differently than the other because 8x10 and 4x6 aren't quite the same dimension.
Right.
So then that's the same problem here. The slide width and height are a certain dimension fixed, and you've now got a photo to fit in.
Russ, I assume that unlike iPhoto or where they always have the fit to fill or fill to fit, they have those 2 options, in which case, when you say, fill to fit, it'll just fill up the photograph. I mean, it'll fill up your space. Now, some of your photograph will be missing because of it, but I'm assuming that that Google Slides does not have that.
You can crop an image, okay? If you click on the image and go to the format menu, you go to image, you can crop the image. It'll allow you to do that.
But you have to then go ahead and crop and figure out what the dimensions are ahead of time so that it automatically fits. But
yep.
You know what I'm talking about in Apple, they always have, whenever you're dropping an image into a box, you always have the option to quote, I think it's called fit.
That's right. So what would happen in that circumstance is Apple would resize this photo and it would fill the whole thing. And so what you'd probably get is you get part of this top of here would be cut out to get it to fit. And
then you have to decide whether or not that option crops out part of the photo that you don't want to. And then you have to.
Yep. Let me insert another photo for you just so you can watch it. Did you still have another question, June?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Johnny, have a question when you get a chance.
Okay, Johnny, go ahead and ask your question now.
Okay, my question would, not that I want you to demonstrate it, But is it possible when you put in your text on that you can animate the text like you do on a PowerPoint?
You can. I haven't played with animated text in Google
Okay.
Slides, but you can. There are ways to do it. You know what's neat about Google Slides? Just go play with it.
Yeah.
So when you're done with this, I'll give you all an assignment. I've never given people assignments after class, but you could all go and you could open Google Slides if you have it. Do what I did. You don't have to put them in a Google Photos, but I recommend you do that. And then just play around with it. And you can find, I think that you find the animation up here. Let me get this out of the way here. Let's go to this. Let me highlight class presentation. Let's see. So I've seen it somewhere. Arrange, rotate, slide, format, text.
You have a way of changing the font?
Yes. So this right here, the font is right up here. It's Arial 52 point. So just like anything else, you've got your font size and your font choice. You can bold it, italicize it, underline it. You can change the color. Watch out when you're in black. It defaults always by starting by doing black print. You'll type it up. You go, where did my text go? Well, you have to start by making your text white or some other color. You can use red. I'll just do one more photo insert, just so you see that. So this time I'll use the insert menu, insert image, and I'll do from photos. I'll do one more from in here. I go to albums and class album. This is an album we made a little while ago. And let's select, okay, now I'm gonna do one that's a portrait. And look what I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna select two. Someone asked what happens if I select more than one. Hang on.
There you go.
Well, did it select this? Oh yeah, it's got two selected. Now watch when I do insert, it's selected, it laid them side by side. So that's one thing you can do with portrait oriented photos. So my granddaughter brings her hammock in her backpack with her on a hike, and then they always stop, they set up the hammocks, they get out food, and they eat. Hey, they go on hikes. What can you say? So
Russ, you can do it at the same time when you highlight two of them and they go in. I did it one by one. It took a long time to do that, you know.
Yeah. So if you've got room like I had here for two on a page, you can select two. Someone asked me earlier about multiple ones. If they had all been images like this slide here, it would have just stacked them on each top of each other. You wouldn't
much faster, huh?
Yeah.
Give it a try, Russ, and see if it would reduce them and get them. Just see what would happen if you.
I will. Let me just show you one other. I'll do that, Melinda. Let me show you one other thing. You can go in here. You can drag and drop a photo. So if I decide that I don't want that photo next to that one, I can grab it and I can drop it into. No, it didn't work. Okay, I thought I could.
Hey, Russ, before you move on, if you notice while you got the pictures and you're playing with them, format come up, and right besides format, it has animation.
Format.
You see that animate? No, on the top. When you put the pictures here and you had this little bar around like you manipulating it. Yeah. And then right next to format option, it has
there
animate.
It is. That I knew I'd seen it. There it is. Okay. You know what I did? I right-clicked it. You can also right-click on a photo.
Okay.
And thank you. Was that? Thank you. I knew I'd seen it. There's animate. You can animate it. You can also replace an image. So let me show you something. Let me first do Melinda's point. So here's I'm going to put a photo in here. So I'm going to do insert photo, and I'm going to grab now this one and this one again. Is it? There we go. And I hit insert. Oh yeah, this is what it did. It made one small. That's right. It tried to fit him in that way. I've also done it where I've done multiples and it's kind of stacked them in weird ways. Like it doesn't know what to do with it. So in this case, what it tries to do is like, well, let's see. Can I put these next to each other? How about that?
Russ, how did you control the big one and small one to fit into a page of the PowerPoint?
I didn't. When I selected two photos, because I had selected this one right here first and this one
It will.
second, it automatically made this the main one and made the other one the smaller one.
I would
Okay.
like to see what would happen if you decrease the size of the large one. Would would the other one increase?
That's a good question. Let's try that. If I put this one like this, it
Okay.
doesn't do it. I don't think it would do it.
You
I'm going
could-
to undo.
But you could then stretch the other one.
You could, if you know what I can do? I can actually
Bring it.
stretch this one. Now I got one on top of the other. You can do that
Okay.
if you want to.
Another thing you could do is replace photos. So in other words, if you wanted to swap them, you
Mhm.
can click on the small one and go replace, and then click on, you just
You
simply.
know what else you can do? I can go here and I can click on this photo and I can hit cut. Okay. And now I can go over to this slide and I can, this slide, and I hit paste and I can, that's how I can move the photo instead of dragging and dropping. I can cut and paste and put them in a blank slide. Let's see, there was another question. Let's see, we looked at animation. We looked at how to do multiple ones. The reason I generally don't like to put more than 2 on a page because I like to explain them. This is okay. I don't like to get anything too busy, too crowded in a presentation. And some of you
Russ,
have been to my
so
presentations.
if you
Yes.
want to remove one, I did the move, but it did not remove the photo in one of the page. But you do the cut, it will disappear on you, right?
Yes. Here's one other thing you can do. And let me show you this one right here. I can right click on it and I can replace the image, and I can then, it gives me choices again if I can go and find another photo from my Google Photos, and it will replace it and put a different one in there. One other thing you can do, and those some of you that maybe you're doing a travel presentation, you want to insert an image. So you go up here and you click insert, search the web. Okay. So I'm going to search for a map of Italy because I'm thinking of going back to Italy. So let's select map of Italy. Oh, I like that one right there. And now I can insert a map in from the web. Isn't that cool how that works? So it gives you those options. Dirty secret, this is what I do. And when I'm making travel presentations, not really a dirty secret. It's not even a secret. That's how I do it. Where else am I going to get my maps? I will say whenever
Would you show that again of how you?
Sure. So I'm here.
Your maps in your presentations were different than this kind of like a map. There were like in the Mexico one, there were states.
Yep.
So you just picked a different one?
Yep. So that one I did this. I did like this. I did up search the web, and that one I looked for Guanajuato State. Oh, Guanajuato State map. And it was something like one of these. I forget what I searched for exactly.
There was the colorful one that had all the states from Mexico.
Yeah, wasn't that a fabulous map?
Yeah.
I like to find that one again. I saved it somewhere.
Okay.
Let me stop and check the chat here because we're really running out of time. This has been fun. We need to do this class again. Yes, set music to the slides. You can do that. Oh my. We obviously have to do this class more often. I'm just checking here. There is a PowerPoint, yes, a PowerPoint class, and there is a basic slides class. And someone asked a question, how to become a guide. Yes, there is a whole process to becoming a Get Set Up guide. We're running low on time. Mayor, let me answer your question.
So again, a very basic question. To add text adjacent to a picture,
Yes.
do you have to put a text box in first and then type in the text box, or can you just click on the slide and start typing?
Oh, you have to insert a text box.
So that's
So
in
in
general.
this slide right here that's blank, that little thing is this text box. What's cool is you draw it like this.
Uh-huh.
And then I click in here, and then you want to make sure you change your text font color before you do anything else because it'll default to black and you won't see what you typed in. You could do red if you wanted. You could type in a word. Also, you might want to change your font size because if it's too small to see, you can't really see what you're typing, and you can change your font size here in increments, or you can just go and you can select a big one like that to put your font in. And again, click, there's your box. Yeah, you have to draw a box. Mayor, when we were up here, when some of the default slides give you text boxes by default in the slide. So if you want, you can start with this, and then you can squish it, because you can take this text box and you can make it smaller and wider. You can make it, you can change the shape of it, and then you can stick a photo in over here. I find it a lot easier just to get my photo in first and then put the text box in second.
If you left, because I know you produce these slides by first deleting the text boxes, but if you left the text box in and didn't do that, would the photo just appear under the text box?
It would actually go right over the text box.
It would go over.
And you can actually do that. You can do that. I find it annoying to have stuff in the background, text boxes in the background when I'm doing a slide. I like to work with a clean canvas, as an artist would say.
I see. So when it goes over the text box, it doesn't eliminate. It doesn't delete the text box.
That's right. The text box is there, but yep.
Okay, so you really have to delete it first.
There is something you can do, Mayor, and this will be a little more in an advanced class, and maybe we need to do an advanced class. If you have a photo with a dark enough background like here, you can actually move the text box over the photo, like I just did. See how it says it put it in here? And if the background is dark enough, you can actually put the text in the photo like this. See how that happened? Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Except for it didn't move. When I moved the photo, the text box didn't move. So I have to readjust it. And some of my slide presentations have that. John, you got a question?
Yes, June has a question. She wants to know, what does Animate do?
Animate does it makes things move around. Let's take Russ with daughter, and let's do. Let's see.
It's called Jiggle.
Let's see. I'm gonna take this box, format, options. You're getting beyond my capabilities, because I know you can do it, but I don't. I've used animation in different ways. There's a slide where you can do it so that a slide, like if you've got a bulleted list, you can pull them out one after the other, and they'll appear on the slide. That's the way I've used animation. But you can get this to animate. You go to format, text. Let's see, size, color. I don't see it there. Somebody who found it, tell me where it was again. Format options. Let's see. Text
when you highlight the picture, that's when it comes up, and it has, you see right up to the top, right up there, and right beside format options. It's right there.
Oh yeah. So you can here's a cool one you can do. You can get it to fade in like that, and add animate. So you can do this. You could do Russ with daughter, and then it would say like that, faded in.
Oh, okay.
I've done that
That's an
before.
advanced class.
Well, yeah, it's only advanced, Carolyn, because of time. This is so much fun. I could do this class for 2 hours, but so I like putting text on top of photos when I can, when it works. I said you have to have a dark background. You can do it the other way around like this. If you have a light background, you can just do a dark text. So if you've got if I go here, there's a little bit of blue sky. I could put I can draw my text box up here, and I could do Russ on a hike. Okay, so I go in there, I'm going to highlight that text and make it bigger so you can read it. I'm going to make it bolder because it's kind of hard to see unless you bold it. So you can adjust your font color by the background of your photo.
I think
if I were to take it and squeeze it in here up over this cloud right there in the photo, that works pretty well right there. So lots of fun things you can do. Most of us just want to have a photo and we explain it, or maybe a photo with a text box for people. But you can animate, you can make things fade in, fade out. This is a presentation you'd want to do if you're online with a group and you want to show them something. Like, we have a couple interest groups on travel, and you can make a slideshow for that interest group. This is my trip to Italy, or my trip to wherever I went, my trip to Zion National Park. This is kind of how we build our slide decks for Get Set Up, because I generally use an image with text. I rarely have just text. I use an image with text because it holds your attention and gives you another thing to think about. Any more questions? I've gone over, and I'm just going to see if there's any more questions because it's been such a fun class.
I have one more question. It doesn't. The way that you were able to put up albums and Google Photos, can you do that if you just want to do an animation with your pictures? Not necessarily using the slides. I'm getting off topic. I thought I'd take advantage of this end.
Well, something you can do. Here's another whole way you can do this. So you could make a slide deck like that. Mm-hmm. You could also just do Google. You could say some people, hey, I want to show you my photos from my trip. And you could make a Google album like I did just now. And you could just show them like this. I mean, you can't add text to it. And you could just click through them like this.
Okay.
Which is another way to do it. I'm glad my wife didn't get hit by that.
So can you do a slideshow with it?
Yes, this is a slideshow.
I thought you was changing the pictures. Okay.
I am changing the pictures. Now, okay. Do I want to set it up as a slideshow, like so it moves them automatically?
Yeah.
I don't know that Google will do that. Let's see here. Let's look at the bottom.
So if you did that, then you could just be talking yourself while you're clicking the slide.
Well, look here, slideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all see what I did? So I'm in the album called Class Album, and up here in the right-hand corner, you got a bunch of options. You can order photos. Want to print them? There you go. You can add photos right here. That's what that icon is. You can share it. You can share this album with somebody. So you want to share your photos with your sister, your brother, your child, or friend, colleague, whatever. You can invite them by putting their email address in there. Now they can see that. Or you go to here where the 3 dots are. You can edit the album. You have other options. Anyway, what I want to show you is this thing called Slideshow.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see I don't know if it will automatically, there it is. It automatically moved itself. So it gave you a few seconds. You could, the downside of having it do it automatically is if you want to pause on a slide and talk about it, whoops, it went on to the next slide. So
yeah,
that's why if you do it the other way, but isn't this great? That's just an automatic slideshow. Another whole way you can do it. You can just put your photos into Google Photos. If all you want to do is show photos.
I think the slideshow presentation is good for you to preview what you have before you decide to put the finished product on it. You can look and see if there's any changes or adjustments you want to make before you actually make that last project.
And by the way, I don't know if you all can see my screen, but down here in the bottom left corner, I've got play and pause. So that's how if you can just pause on a photo for a while, and then you can hit click and you can advance it, or you can just click on the arrow and advance them, but it'll be in the slideshow. So those are all the things you can do with Google stuff. I hit escape, it pulls out of there, and I go back to my other tabs. There was a slide presentation we made.
Now, is that how you share that yellow share with the lock on it?
Yep. So in all Google applications, the share is up here in the upper right-hand corner in a yellow rectangle that says share. And now you can add email addresses of people. You can give them options. Let's see. If you make them an editor, they can actually go in and edit the photos. I guess they could delete them, take them out. Google Photos does have a very rudimentary editing function. That's this little thing of little scroll bars up here, and it'll change all the things in the photo if you want. You can change your lighting, you can add effects. And anyway, well, you've been a great class. This was so much fun. I'll get your notes and come back to the class next time we have it. You can take it as many times as you want. You can request an advanced Google Slides class. We'll do that. An advanced class. We'll look at animation, fading in, fading out, that kind of thing, jiggling photos. And please come back to the class next time we have it. I'll be doing it again in June. Probably do this class about twice a month. And please give me feedback. Say, hey, that was a pretty good class, Russ, but you went too fast. That was a good class, but you didn't show us this. And there should be, by the way, just a Google Slides class you can take. Wade teaches. I've taught it too. So you can just do the basic Google Slides, and it'll show you stuff about all those formatting options for presentations. We kind of focus this one in on travel photography, but you can do that Google Slides class as well. Hey, everyone, have a great time, a great day. A great afternoon. It's now afternoon here officially. And come back to the classes this afternoon, 3:30. We'll be doing one on using online and mobile apps to plan your trip. And then our very own Melinda will be in a class at 7 o'clock. We do 7:30. No, 7 o'clock. It's Tuesday. 7 o'clock, we'll do home exchange. So learn all about how to do home exchange.
Russ, do you want to just stay on afterwards, or do you still want to just call?
I'll call you. I got your number. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Adios.
Adios.